Hello and welcome back to the show. It's only been a couple months, but previously we finished up the collision boxes, and now we're going on to coding it. Just a refresher of everything that I've done, if anyone cares, is basically I add all the collision boxes to everything he does. He does not have a jump. Well, he does have a jump back. He doesn't have a run forward, which he doesn't have one in the game either. As you can see, all the hitboxes are there. I do not think the hitdefs work at all. Let's see. Yeah, hitdefs do not work. So we're going to do states today. I think I had the super. Yeah. Alright. Kung Fu Man. Yeah, so we're going to do states today. Basic stuff. Probably do the special moves or so as well. Alright, so let's start. First things first, erase Kung Fu Man from existence. Yes. Okay, so everything's pretty much explained in the CNS file. The CNS stands for constants, and this pretty much controls everything for the character. You can break this up into multiple files, which depending on the character, it's a good idea. In this case, because he's a very basic character, it's not necessary at all. And everything's very well explained too. Basic life is 1000, basic attack is 100, defense is 100. There is another thing here which is not shown, which is power. And this controls your super gauges. So 3000 is 30 bars, 5000 is 5 bars, 10,000 is 10 bars. Now, don't be the fool and just put like a bunch of 9s. That's just being a jerk. Be fair. These values I generally never mess with, and they always seem to work fine for me. Volume, if you're working in Mugen 1.1, you should change it to volume scale and then set it to 100. If you do not set it to 100 and leave it to 0, your character is going to be mute. You're going to hear nothing from the character, and this is the most likely reason. One thing to mention also is air juggle. I'll get back to this later on as we go to the Statedefs. Then you have the size of the character, which allows you to change the size. So I'll set this to 2 and I'll show you what that looks like. It's actually very interesting. So that's 2 times width scale. Pretty creepy. Yeah, I'll put the Y on 2. And this is just for your entertainment. Yeah, I personally would never scale the character here in the CNS. It's a lot better than it used to be, but I just wouldn't. What the heck? Huh, car alarms. Yeah, I personally wouldn't, just because of that. Everything's straightforward. It's all explained here. If you want to add double jump, set this to 1. Triple jump, set it to 2. No double jump, set to 0. Oh my god, that car alarm. Okay, so that happened. These are victory quotes. This is where you put the line the character says after they have defeated the opponent. By default, Kung Fu Man has 2. This is English, and JA is for Japanese quotes. Deleting this because even though Ray McDoodle is pretty English, I don't know his Japanese quotes. I don't have the keyboard for it, and I'll just remove like 3 of these. I'll make something up for that. Now moving on to states. So the most basic of state is state 200. There's other basic states, but I like to go with 200. So using 200, you can just copy and paste this multiple times, and this will give you the states for all your attacks. Like, you can use it for helpers and all that stuff later on down the line. But I'll go over explaining this to you, and then I'll edit everything according to make the character work properly and be more of a character. Depending on how long it takes, I could end the video with just working on the CNS right here, the constants. Or I could go into showing you how to do the special moves towards the end of the video, depending on how long this takes. So to start off, you have to specify the type for your character. It's stand, crouch, air, and lie down. The move type: A is for attack, I is for idle, H is for get hit. Get hit means you're hurt, so you can't do anything except get hurt. Physics: this is very important. You always need to check your physics if something seems odd. Stand physics, crouch physics, air physics. These numbers, or those words, are relative to, I believe, your stand friction. crouch friction, and Y excel. I believe it's these three values that these things are relative to. But basically, if your attack is going to be on the ground, use S. If it's a crouch attack, use C. If it's in the air, use A. Now, if your attack is on the ground and then goes into the air, such as a Shoryuken or any anti-air move, you will want to use A at the right time. There's a state controller that lets you change your physics. Alternatively, there's another physics called N. So I'll write that here. N. No physics. So N removes your physics altogether, and you have complete control over the character. You could make them go up, down, left, right, hit the floor, hit the ceiling, whatever you want to do with them. So that is also very important to know. So I'll actually backstep a bit here. If you're doing a ground to air anti-air move, I would recommend using no physics, because then you have complete control over the character moving forward in the ground and then going up into the air and then coming back down with a gravity code, for instance, which pulls them back down. Next in line, you have Juggle. So if you recall up here on the very top, there is the line for Air Juggle. It's at the 15. What does that mean? You have 15 points of Juggle. So this attack, Standing Light Punch, takes 1 point away from that 15, which leaves you with 14. So when you have Juggle points, you can combo. When you run out of Juggle points, you cannot combo, and your moves will never hit. It's like a safety mechanism to, prevent infinite moves or combos or cheap attacks. Every move should have a Juggle point relative to it, unless it's a super. Then you would do like less Juggle points, or you would remove Juggle points altogether, depending on the gameplay you're going for. Okay, next on commonly used controllers here, we have a Velset. So you could add a Velset code here. You could add a Velset code here, but it's completely unnecessary because you could do it here. Now the difference is you have a trigger for this one. This can activate, say, animate element 3. So this would activate later, whereas this would activate right away. So keep that in mind. If you want the character to move at the instant that they're in this state, use this. If you want them to move after they're in this state, use this. And remove this. Control. CTRL means control. This means, does the player have control? It's a Boolean. A Boolean is basically a true or false statement. So control equals 0 means the player does not have control. Control equals 1 means the player has control and they can cancel from this move into another move. So for instance, right now, for the hell of demonstration, I'm going to do Standing Light Punch. As you can see, it's pretty fast. Now if I put this control to 1, you're going to see it going either faster or not happening at all, because it's canceling itself. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Oops. We died. So we'll leave it to 0. So if you're doing an attack, always set it to 0. The only time you need control is to give control. It will never be here. There is a control code here called control set, which you can use this to give the character control at a later time, and you can either give it or take it. Then you have the animation, which tells you which animation to play. We're playing animation 200 right here. This one, jab, 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 jab. Power add. This will add to your power gauge. Remember, 1000 by default is 1 super bar, so it's pretty little. Next, you have sprite priority, which is layers. So by me putting this to -1 or even 0, it'll put me behind the player. So see, I'm right behind Kung Fu Man right now. There we go, right behind him. If you're attacking, your priority is usually in front of them, and it's preferred so you can hit them like in the face. All right, so that's basic Statedef. This is basic. There's other controllers which I rarely ever use, and I won't go over them because I rarely ever use them. Next, we're going to go on to the hitdef. So, the hitdef. This is what makes your red hitbox here hit the opponent. For standing light punch, if you can recall, the standing light punch does not hit. And the reason why is most likely because of your trigger. Now, the trigger says animation element equals 3. Anim element means animation element equals 3. And if you look at your animation 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. There is no red box on animation element 3, so it will not hit ever. What the correct answer is animation element 2. That's not the right number. Ignore the cough. It's I don't know where I got this from. It's cold. Alright, so now it's gonna hit. What the? Hey, thank you, computer, for telling me what time I'm gonna sleep. Now it's hitting. An alternative to this, which I personally like, if you have a single hit move, I would use exclamation mark time. Exclamation mark means not, and time is relative to as long as they're in the state and time going on. This is the same as saying time equals 0. So if I put time equals 0, it's the same as saying not time. And the reason you want to use not time is in case the reason you want to use not time is sometimes you can be lazy, and I don't want to specify it's this. It's just whenever I have an attack. So it'll always be the first red hitbox that makes contact. So if I had a red hitbox here, but I want one of them to hit not both, I would put not time or time equals 0. This way, whichever one, it could be this one or it could be this one, the move will get hit. Oh, the move will hurt. If I wanted to hit 2, I can do animation element equals 2, and the correct way, well, the better way is to use some syntax. So using the ampersand and animation. Oh, actually no, not and. Sorry. Above the enter key is a backslash. If you press shift, the backslash is straight. Putting two of those together means or. So animation element 2 or animation element equals 3. So now my attack will hit twice. Once on animation element 2 and once on animation element 3. If you have animation element 2 and animation element 3, it will not hit because you cannot be in two simultaneous states of animation at the same time. It won't work. So you have to have the or symbol. But I'm going to revert to not time. Now you have to set your attributes for your attack. This is very important that you set your attributes correctly. You have to tell what the character is doing. So this is a standing attack. It has to be stand. This is also a normal attack, so it'll be normal. Now the other things are, so if it's a crouch attack, I'll use C. If it's an air attack, I'll use air. A for air. Now there's normal attack, super attack, hyper attack. Hyper attacks are level 3 supers. No, actually, hyper attacks are any supers that are level, like level 1 super, level 2 super, level 3 super. Super attacks are basically projectile moves, or forward front flip kick moves that hit you. And A is basically normal attacks like punch, kick, roundhouse, stuff like that. The other flip side of that is you have normal throw, NT, you have super throw, ST, and hyper throw, HT. Then you also have NP for normal projectile, SP for super projectile, say a Hadouken, HP for a hyper projectile, which could be, at this point in time, it could be any number of beam moves or big, large projectile moves or anything that's massive. Again, on the flip side of that, there's other things such as AA for all attack, AP for all projectile, and AT for all throws. AA, AT, and AP do not work for attribute, because attribute means you are specifying what you're doing. AA, AT, and AP are not what you're doing. You cannot be doing all attacks at the same time. I mean, I'm sure you could probably break it into Mugen somehow, but you cannot do that. So in this case, we'll leave it as NA, standing normal attack. Now we have damage. First value is the damage you're doing to the player. Second value is guard damage. A lot of attacks usually don't do anything to guard, so you can put it to 0. If you really want to add chip damage, you can put it to 1, and then every move will do chip damage as long as you put that along the way. Atom type, light. So as you can see here, it says light, medium, heavy, and back. I've never used back. I have no idea what that does, honestly. But yeah. Also, I noticed sometimes you could put light, medium, and hard, which is interesting because it tells us heavy in this, but when you like check the docs, it says you could use hard as well. So I don't know which is the correct, but it takes both as an answer. Oh, I meant to put this on light. So depending on what you set your enemy type to, this is how the opponent is going to react when you hit them. So let's take a look at the light punch right now. So this is a light jab to Kung Fu Man's face. See, light jab, he just flinches back a bit, and then he recovers. Let's do a medium jab. It may look the same, but that's purely because of animation. Medium jab, see, his head is already here instead of being here and then push back. And then he goes back more. So you know it's a medium. And then you do a heavy. And boom, he's already back, and then he goes further back. So these are very important if you want your move. What the heck, Levy? If you want your moves to look right when you hit them. Next, you have a guard flag, which is it's a little difficult at first, but basically, you have a couple things. You have low, high. I forget what the M stands for. I think it's middle. Down and fall. So low means you can only guard this move if you're crouch guarding. High means you can guard it standing up. Middle means you can be either standing or crouching to guard. And you know there is actually air. The A means you can block it in the air. Down, if you're on the floor, like say you've already fall down, you can't block this move. And fall means if you're falling, you know, you can block, but if you're falling, you are obviously hurt, so you can't block if you're hurt. So to block this move, you have to be standing or crouching and in the air. The hit flag, that's guarding. When you're doing the hit flag now, you can hit this move standing and crouching. You can hit this move in the air, and you can hit this move if the opponent's falling. And then if you want to hit them while they're on the ground, you put a somewhere in here, you put an L and it makes sense. Mouth. That's a bunch of letters. F. And you can put D for down. Oh, maybe I was wrong about L for lying down. Maybe it's just down. Yeah, I think it's just down. Okay. So yeah, you could always change your hit flags to depend on how you want the move to be. So if you have a move where you're stomping the ground and you want to hit someone who's laying down, you would put D. So this way you can hit them while they're on the ground. Move priority. So say two moves collide, this hitdef and another hitdef. Depending on the priority, that move will have higher priority. That'll hit first, or most likely. Straightforward. I've never messed with hit, miss, dodge types. I only leave it at hit because I don't know what the others do. I'm honestly, being honest with you, I've never done with it. Pause time. This is the time it takes the player to pause. This is the time it takes the opponent to pause. Now, if you set this to a ridiculous number, Kung Fu Man's gonna get hit that face real hard, and he's just gonna stay there. Kapow! And if I have the long pause, well then, let's just say, kapow! So it's highly recommended you keep these values at the same digits. You go up and down 1 or 2 depending on the type of move you're doing and the gameplay you're after, but it's best practice to keep them at the same. Spark number is your hit spark. If you don't have any hit sparks in the character, you can use the ones in the Mugen engine itself. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, and I think 3 are hit sparks in the engine, and they are global for all characters. Yep, that is definitely a hit spark. When you add your hit sparks, you would put like say I want to use this animation as a hit spark for the heck of it. Actually, no. You know what? No. Where's my projectiles? I have them in here. So there we go. I want to use this as the hit spark. The animation is 10, 11. So spark number will be 10, 11. But this won't work just like this. You need to put an S. That's how Mugen knows you want to use the SFF file animation 10, 11. Now I may not be saying that correctly, but that's how I'm going to say it to make it make sense. So now if I punch him, blab, splash. So that's my hit spark. Now, that's not really the best hit spark, so we're not using that. We're going back to 0 for now. Spark X and Y, this tells you where the spark is going to be offset on the player. It says relative to player 2. I usually leave it at -10, sometimes -20 depending on the move. And as for the spark Y value, -76, I have a little cheat that works the majority of the time for me. If you go to your sprite like this and you zoom out to say pixel perfect, if you hover your mouse over the part that's supposed to hit and then look here in the bottom left where it says position, you'll see it gives you a number. In my case it is -82, so I'm going to put this to -82, and now I'm going to try it again. By doing it like this, your hit sparks are almost always going to line up properly. See, look at that. Perfect. Right in the hand, right where the mouse was. And remember, to do this, you have to zoom in or out to get pixel perfect resolution. There is something here that lets you view it at the normal resolution, but I don't remember what the button is. But basically, I just use the wheel on the mouse to zoom in and out. If it looks too small, it's too small. Alright, so that's that. Hit sound, same thing. If you don't have sounds in your character in your SND file, which are these. Actually, these are Kung Fu Men's. So look, it has a group and an index. So group 0, index 0. And then group 1, index 1. Ta! Ta! So the hit sound is 5-0, which, is it 5-0? Ta! Oh my. Okay. So it's obviously not going to play that sound because it doesn't have the S. The S means it wants you to use your own files, your own sounds, your own sparks. If it's not the S, and it's a regular 5,0, it's going to use the Mugen's Screen Pack's default hit sound, default guard sound. So put an S if you want to use your own, use this if you want to use the engines. And these numbers change depending on Screen Pack. Now you have your ground type, which is high. So you have 3 options. High meaning hit in the face, low meaning hit in the legs, hit in the stomach, and then trip meaning this move will make your character enter a trip state, which they will fall. Since this is a jab in the face, it's going to be high. Then you have slide time, which the opponent slides back. Hit time, this mixed with the pause time leaves good effect. So a high pause time means the character is stunned and they're shaking vigorously. Low pause time, high ground hit time means the character will shake for that second and then they'll just be stuck in that animation, not shaking. So you can use that to add different effects depending on what you're after. Ground velocity, this is 2 values. This is just an X, but you can also put, like say, -4 and -4. So he's going to move back -4 velocity and up -4 velocity. And you get pow. Put the collision box on, as you can see. He goes up 4 and 4, and then he comes back down. Okay, so I'll remove that because of what the move is. Air guard velocity, same thing. Air type, same thing. I don't know how trip works in the air, but never tried it. by all means give it a shot. Air velocity, same thing. This is how the player reacts after you hit them. Air hit time is time before opponent regains control, and if you're hitting them in the air, you want to use a fall equals 1 control. This way they cannot recover. Well, they could recover, but this is to guarantee they don't automatically recover. Then you have a play sound, which is I guess the whoosh effect that you heard before. For play sound, I don't think you need to use the S, but you could put the S anyways. Mugen will override or overlook it. And then lastly, for the state, you need a change state. Animation time equals 0, means when the animation has fully finished playing and it's over, there's no more animation. The alternative to this would be not anim time, and that's whenever the animation's over, it's going to change state to state 0, which is stand, and it's going to give the player back control in stand. So this way, after you jab, you go back to your stand and you can move around again or jab again. And that's basically how you code things in the Statedef. Now on the right side, there's various other codes you can use. So there's an after image code, there's angle draw, angle add for rotation, there's background pal effects, there's change animation codes, control set codes, environment shake codes, xplod, which are effects, helper codes, so which makes you produce a helper or an object, not hit by codes to not get hit by stuff, play sound, projectile codes to make projectiles like fireballs, super pause codes, turns, vars, vel sets, all that stuff. It's all here. It's all in your Mugen docs. Please read the Mugen docs. If you don't know what something does, try it out, and that'll help you figure it out. So now I'm going to go through all of his states and fix them and basically make all of his moves hittable and hit spark alignment and stuff like that. So now is the time when I fast forward everything. Okay, so I'm at an impasse, sort of. I could leave these states here, but I'm going to get rid of them to start fresh and do everything from the beginning. I just want to do some cleaning up before I move on to the next thing. So because Ray does not have a Kung Fu Palm or anything of the sort of the fast Kung Fu Palm, Kung Fu Knee, Kung Fu Upper, all that stuff, Kung Fu Blocking, I'm just going to delete it all. So I'll go here. Just erase all this. I'll leave only the supers, which is state 3000 and so on. And the reason why it's just a good base super, so you can see how it's done. And I can show you a fancier way of doing it, of course, which gives you more control, which is what you want. You want to have more control. But at the same time, too much control is also no good, because then you can break something. Where am I? Kung Fu. No, went too far. Triple Kung Fu Palm Hyper. Good. Okay, so now I left the throw also, which I'm just gonna use this as a base and explain later on, much later on, because I hate coding throws. It's easy and it's fun, but I generally hate coding throws because there's so many little factors that I just hate to calculate. I'll probably code it and then explain afterwards. So, oh, I made a space here. There we go. Okay, so one thing to note: when doing air attacks, you don't need a change state at the end of it, because having physics A automatically makes you change state when you land. So if it's an air attack, do not have a change state, unless it's not a regular air attack. It's like a special air attack or something, like a repeated air dragon kick or something like that. So basic air attacks, physics A, move type A, because you're in the air, you're attacking, and you have air physics. when you're crouching. You have crouching physics, your crouching attack, and you have crouching physics. Stand, same thing, and so on. So just keep that in mind when doing that. Now, going to the command file, it's a lot of gibberish, and this is good to actually read, by the way, because it tells you on different things you can do with the keys and stuff like that for button combinations. I'm leaving the triple kung fu palm and kung fu smash stuff. I'm removing the special motions, the forward attacks, the quarter circle forward, quarter circle back, all that stuff, and I'm going to add my own at some point in time. Let's see, so that's all of that. So I did all the states. So all the states should hit now. I didn't test it yet. This here, I'll go over some extra codes. This is a width code. Width basically extends the player's physical reach. What is this? I must have left a code in there somewhere. Yeah, I actually forgot to delete them here. Very important. If you delete the command, delete the code that redirects it to the states. Otherwise, you end up with that error which I just had. Okay, so now quick test. Okay. Look at the sparks. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Nice. Aye. Very good. Fight me in the air, Kung Fu Man. It's a little forward, but I mean, your forward punch is always going to be moving. Well, you can always change that easily. Heavy punch is good. Low kick is good. This should go forward a bit more, just like the other air attacks. Oh, I used that for the air attack? Okay. I totally used the wrong animation. Let me get that sorted. There we go. And this should be 60. Okay, so heavy kick will be, this will be 60, and then I'll put this at 30. Spark position, let's go with 20. This will be 20 also. This will be 20. So there, I just pushed everything forward a bit. So now he's like a very basic punching bag who can fight back. He has all of his basic moves. And there's just some things I want to... Oh yeah, I was going over width. So if you look at the bottom of Ray, you see this line here, this crosshair here, and this line here. Basically, that's his width. And what's supposed to happen, which I don't see happening, probably because of the triggers. So when you do a heavy punch, if you notice, Ray lunges his arm forward, but his width is still the same. So because his width is the same, the opponent can get within this distance here, which is unrealistic because you should stop here. So by using width, you can extend this here to prevent them from being too close to you. So going to standing strong. Yeah, see this trigger? It probably never happens because who knows? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend it only for that attack. Going to the attack. Okay, good. So blah blah blah. Animation element 4. And I always like to test these values to see what they do and which way they go, because I forget. Okay, let's try 30. Sometimes value doesn't work for me. See, there we go. If you look carefully, if I time it right, right there, it went back. See, I extended his range backwards by accident. So it should be 30. I think 0 is fine with this one. I'm not altering the default, so I think it's just 30 add on to whatever the neutral is. Yep. There we go. So now I pushed it forward. So now the player can only get this close to me, which is in attack range. So if he's too close, pow, punches him. Is this necessary? Not really, but I just wanted to show you what it does. I'm not going to use it. One of his other attacks is kind of interesting. So yeah, this is his low kick. If you notice, his footing is here, his left foot's here, and then suddenly, boom, his left foot's over here. It jumps back, and then he goes back like there. So now when you're aligning, you always want to make sure the characters align to the center of their body. So if I align this correctly, or if I align this incorrectly, it'll look like this. So this is the center of my body, but my body's over here. So what I do is I would push this over to center of the body there, and then I would use coding such as position add to put it in place. Now I'm just giving a random value for this. Standing low kick, I'm going to use a pose add code, position add. Animation element would be, let's see the animation. It'll be animation 2. So animation element equals 2. It's gonna move back, say 15. I'm just guessing a number. Yeah, I didn't mean to press that button. Okay. See, so it actually, it's moving him backwards, as you can see. It's actually kind of funny. So maybe it's not negative 15, maybe it's positive 15. That could be my bad. Heh. Yeah, see, that looks a little bit better because now he's moving forward. It might be 25. I'm literally just trying out numbers. I don't know if there's a solution to this, a math solution, but I just try numbers till it looks right. Oh, it looks great. Yeah. Okay, so then this is him moving forward, so I copy it and I paste it, and now for him to move back, I'll use the next frame of animation and then the negative of that. So now, when I do the actual kick, it looks like this. See his foot? It just rotates in and out. This could probably also use it for the heavy kick, so we will go to that. I'll copy this, take it with me. Okay, so I put it here just to keep consistency. Go to the animation. I want to onion skin the stand. Okay, so then I move forward a little bit, it looks like. Move forward again a little bit. Kick and play. And then and then I have to move back. Okay, at frame 5 I move back. So 2, 3, no. So 1 and 2 I move forward, and 5 I move back. So animation element 1 and animation element equals 2. We're gonna go 10 pixels forward, and then animation element 5, we're gonna go back 20 pixels because 10 and 10 is 20. Again, these are just rough numbers. I have no idea what's gonna work, but let's see. Oh my god, look at that perfection. Look at that whoosh. And see, his body is changing with it, and he goes back. And that's perfect. That is excellent. I'm surprised I got that in the first try. Ha! Alright, so I wanted to do specials, but I think I'm going to end it here because I've been recording for an hour or so, and I just want to compress this into a nice, quick little video. I also like to remove these comments that are left all over the place from Malekbite and Kung Fu's Man. Alright, so next video is going to be adding special moves. If I can get some hit sparks in him, I'll add the hit sparks, and we'll go over adding hit sparks, add a little flair to him. Otherwise, he's really mostly a generic character. I missed a pixel. Right there. You see that? I missed that. Anyways, yeah. Oh, you know what? Before we end this session, let's go over close attacks. He has a lot of close attacks. Alright, so 200, standing light punch, right? Jab. 201, standing close jab. Elbow, right? And then standing strong punch, and then you have the standing close strong punch, which is an armpit move. So you can either do this two ways. You can have multiple states, multiple hit defs, or you can use a very advanced code called if-else. There's another code that works too called condition, but I'm more familiar with if-else, so I'm going to use if-else. So if-else p2 body distance x is less than 15, I'm making up a number, play animation 201. If they're not in, less than 15 pixels away, play 200. Okay? So now I can kill two birds with one stone. So if I'm far away, I'm doing this. If I get close, I'm doing the elbow. See? Elbow, jab. And the best thing to do is to have two hitdef. So I would copy this hitdef. Well, let me remove the unnecessary. Oh yeah, I erased something I should have removed. The unnecessary, the unnecessary, the unnecessary. Okay. Now I would copy this, pasta it, because pasta is good. And then for the trigger one, I'm going to use not time, ampersand, ampersand, and animation anim equals 200. And then for this one, ampersand, ampersand, animation equals 201. Now, 200's here. So 201 is going to be here. And this is 80. So there's a difference in, it's a difference by 2 pixels. But you can also change how much difference it affects the opponents. So I don't want them to move back as much. Everything's pretty much the same. Let's reduce the pause time because it's a closer attack. It's not a full-on jab. Okay. So look at that. Ooh, that's loud. I forgot how loud that was. Okay, so you can always do that. I'm going to put this back actually up to 8. I thought 6 was a good idea. It's wrong. But yeah, so you can use an if-else code when the player is close, the P2 body distance. Play your close animation followed by your normal animation. And then split it up like this. I actually have to do this for everything because, well, all the standing attacks at least. So I can do this. I can do 11 and 210. I can do 31 and 30. For 241 and 40. I don't think there's a difference in crouch attacks, just the standing ones. So let's see. Jab, uppercut, knee, face kick. If you notice he slides forward as he does it, there's probably a vel set in there somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, and he's jittery doing this, so you can only imagine that the same thing. So now let's try to conquer the standing light kick close. Oh, okay, you know what? It's because these animations here. So we don't want these to affect the close attack, so we'll use anim equals 230. And this is his basic attack. We'll see how it affects it. Now it won't affect the close attack 231. It'll only affect 230, the regular attack. Let's see how it works. Oh, perfect. Minus the hit spark alignment. Okay, so just like before. Let's go to that knee of justice. It's going to be 81. 81. Okay, and just like that, you've practically doubled their moveset. Ooh. Yeah, honestly, just like that, you double their moveset. To the standing strong kick, these pose ad codes. Oh, there's another pose ad code here. I didn't even see this one. It doesn't do anything because 7 is not part of his animation set. So it's ignore it. So same thing as before. You only want these to work for 240. So you're going to use ampersand ampersand anim equals 240. Same with the other part, just 240. I think the hit spark is fine. I don't think I need to change it, but let's see. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Ah, ears. I think this is fine, honestly. Yeah, that's basically all his basic attacks and alternative attacks. The only thing I probably didn't even go over is the air attacks. So he has a neutral. What's his neutral attack? Oh, okay, neutral 635. Okay, he's a neutral air kick, and I forgot. It's gonna sound silly, but I forgot how to code a neutral air kick move into a character. It's been so long since I messed with this coding, but it works the same way in a sense. If you have different air attacks, you can use P2 body distance or P2 Y distance if they're below you or something or above you. So there's a little bit of play with it. But so yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. That was all the states and stuff. How to code states, how to do hitdefs. The ins and outs of this and that, position adds with codes. In the next video, we're going to go over special moves and the best way to code them. And I'm not sure how many of these videos I'm really going to end up making with Ray, but he's coming along very well. And if you guys would like to test him, just leave me a comment below, and I'll add a download link in the description so you guys can test them out. Alright friends, till next time. Bye.